Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy. And we shall have peace.
Now you realize the true power of the dark side. As long as the dark places of this world flow through the cracks of my flesh, I cannot be killed. I fight because it is the power that the Force fills me with. To survive, to inflict the pain on others. I can die 100 times exile and still I will rise again as strong as before.
As you would pass judgment on her, I have come to pass judgment on you all. Do you wish to feel the teachings born of the Mandalorian wars, of all tragedies that scream across the galaxy? Let me show you, you who have forever seen the galaxy through the Force. The Sith is a belief, and there must always be a Darth Vader. The galaxy needs its betrayers, especially in the times to come.
What is going on, guys, and welcome to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. After days, hours, minutes, seconds of suspense, we finally know the new Sith characters that are coming to the game. And they are, drumroll, lower right-hand side of the screen, Darth Sion, the Lord of Pain. He is going to be the dark side tank we've all been waiting for. He is going to be released in a marquee event coming up soon. When I unlock him in my account, I will give you tons of gameplay and game footage to go over. Another character, it's going to be released during a marquee event. Middle of the screen, right image, Sith Marauder. She's Darth Nihilus' apprentice. She turns good in the Knights of the Old Republic 2 video game. She's a fantastic character. She's actually a light side character in this game. When I get her unlocked, I will show you gameplay and footage of her. I'm so excited. And then, last but not least, we have not seen much video evidence yet of her. But in the new Sith raid, Darth Vader is going to be the raid reward. I'm thinking tomorrow the Game Changers will put up some good footage of the raid and how to unlock her and what we have to go through. I'm so excited. Sion and Sith Marauder again are going to be able to be unlocked soon through marquee event, Treya raid reward. So this is such a fitting day to do a Sith faction overview. I'm so excited. I've wanted to do this, but I'm like, you know, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait till we get these new characters out. And here we go. First off, we have Emperor Palpatine, the leader of the Galactic Empire and the most powerful Sith Lord in history, according to canon. That might not be true outside of canon, but here we go. His abilities: Lightning Strike. Deal special damage to target enemy and shock them for 3 turns. Then Palpatine gains 15% turn meter for each shocked enemy. Power of the Dark Side. Deal special damage to all enemies with a 70% chance to stun them for 1 turn. Shocked enemies are stunned for 2 turns and have their shock dispelled. All allies gain offense up for 2 turns. So this is you get a lot of potency on him. You use this ability. It can do a mass stun. You can have 3 to 5 characters stunned. It's incredible. It completely changes the match that you are in. Then we have Let the Hate Flow Through. All other units lose 5% health, and Palpatine recovers health equal to 150% of the total amount lost. Palpatine gains 50% turn meter for each shocked enemy. All allies gain health steal up for 1 turn. Just recently, this was the ability that gave offense up to the rest of the team, but they switched this in a rework that they just did. And I actually like it better that the power of the dark side gives the offense up. Now we have his leader ability. This was just given a Zeta a few weeks ago. And let me tell you, a lot of us were wondering what the missing piece to this ability was. And that is going to come with Darth Sion. We have Emperor of the Galactic Empire. Empire and Sith allies have plus 35% potency and 35% max health. Jedi and Rebel enemies have minus 35% potency and minus 35% evasion. When an Emperor ally inflicts a debuff during their turn, they gain 20% turn meter. When a Sith ally inflicts a debuff during their turn, they recover 20% health. When a debuff expires on an enemy, Empire and Sith allies gain 5% turn meter. That is the Zeta portion of this ability. It was just given. So, you're facing a General Kenobi. Let's say you have Vader. Not only can he use his Force Crush and gain turn meter through giving debuffs, when they cleanse, every Sith or Empire ally will be getting 5% turn meter for each debuff spelled. Awesome ability. I Zeta'd it. I use him right now in my arena. I will show some gameplay. Next, Crackling Doom. I do not have this Zeta'd, but I'm debating on it. The non-Zeta ability states this. When Palpatine is active at the start of each enemy turn, they take damage equal to 20% of their max health for each of the following. They are shocked, they are a Jedi, they are a rebel, and this damage can't defeat enemies. Now, here is what the Zeta says. We're just going to scroll down, and it's going to say, Palpatine has plus 50% max protection, and when he inflicts shock, he gains 5% max protection until the end of the encounter. So, if we can get a lot of stat going, we could get a lot of shock on people. This is going to depend a lot on tanks that can taunt in your lineup. That's going to come. Here we go. So, Emperor Palpatine is an A character. He's going to go to A+, actually, in my book. Here's how you can get him. You need to get a bunch of rebels. Get them to 7 stars, and then he is attainable through an event. You get 5 good rebels to 7 stars, which are pretty easy to acquire. You'll be able to unlock Emperor Palpatine, who's one of the easier heroic characters to unlock in the game. Get those rebels, get him unlocked. He gets an A. Next, we have Count Dooku. He used to be part of the meta, and he used to be part of my Darth Nihilus team. He does the following. Hindering Press. Deal physical damage to target enemy with a 50% chance to attack again. These attacks have a 25% chance to stun for 1 turn, and a 25% chance to inflict ability block for 1 turn. Debuff chances are doubled against Jedi, and this attack can't be countered. Next, Force Lightning. Deal special damage to target enemy with a 50% chance to shock and stun them for 1 turn. We have some more shock flying across the field there if we want to use with Palpatine. And a 50% chance to stun a random enemy. Debuff chances doubled against Jedi. Does some decent damage as well. Good ability. Master Tactician. He's leadership ability. All allies gain 15% evasion and gain offense up for 2 turns whenever they evade. And last but not least, Flawless Riposte. We have Count Dooku, who has 100% counter chance. In addition, whenever he attacks outside of his turn, he deals 30% more damage and has a 25% chance to gain 45% turn meter, recovers 10% protection, and gains critical hit immunity for 1 turn. I actually have him Zeta'd because I used him earlier in the game, but his non-Zeta'd states this. He has a 100% counter chance, 15% more damage, has a 25% chance to gain 45% turn meter whenever he attacks outside of his turn. He is always countering. When he counters, he can do some bonus damage. When he counters, he also has the ability to stun people. He doesn't hit very hard at all, but he can manipulate the battlefield through stuns and constant counter attacks. I'm going to give him a C+, maybe better. You can find him in the Dark Side 1C, Light Side 1C, and the 6G Neutral Cantina Battle. He's a good character. If you like Sith, go get him, but he wouldn't be on the top of your priority list right now unless you're a counter team. Next, Darth Nihilus. He came out last February. He was the best release yet, and let me tell you, they have finally matched that with the new releases coming out. He left Arena for a little bit, but now he's finally viable back again with these new Sith characters in the Palpatine rework, and here we go. We have Ceaseless Craving. Deal special damage to target enemy and dispel all buffs on them. If any buffs were dispelled, reduce the cooldown of Drain Force by 1. A Dispeller. Good. Drain Force. Deal special damage to all enemies with a 50% chance, doubled against debuffed enemies, to increase their cooldowns by 1 turn. For each cooldown increase, reduce the cooldown of Annihilate by 1. If you have a debuff on them, 100% chance to reduce their cooldowns. It's better than ability block. Seriously, it just boosts those things up. Can't be cleansed. And Annihilate, one of the most beautiful abilities to use in the game, states this. Instantly defeat a target enemy. Nihilus gains max health equal to the target's max health. The defeated target can't be revived. This ability can't be evaded and starts on cooldown. Force Drain lowers the cooldown of this if you have 5 enemies. If it's a cooldown of 7, you have 5 enemies, they all have a debuff, you use Force Drain, that gets it down to 2 right away within the first turn. Excellent ability, really a game changer. Then we have Lord of Hunger. This is a Zeta ability. I do not have it Zeta. It states this. Sith allies gain 60% offense and 100% health steal. Sith allies lose all protection and gain that much health. Sith allies are immune to healing effects that aren't health steal and can't score critical hits. His Zeta gives it up to 150% health steal. I was able to lead the arena with him for a while with that ability when I used Dooku, Palpatine, and I threw in Shays in there. This was a few months back. because they kept gaining health. Dooku and the counter kept gaining health. Palpatine's mass stun could gain a lot of health, but they can't score critical hits. Otherwise, it's a pretty good ability because of the ability to keep gaining health. Then we have Wound in the Force. I do not have this Zeta. I might Zeta it soon if it's going to work in this new Sith lineup I'm throwing together. Wound in the Force, the regular Omega ability states at the start of each of his turns, Nihilus inflicts damage over time for 2 turns on a random enemy that doesn't have any debuffs. If all enemies are debuffed, inflict damage over time on a random enemy. Now here is what the Zeta states. At the start of each of his turns, Nihilus inflicts damage over time for 2 turns on a random enemy that doesn't have any debuffs. If all enemies are debuffed, inflict damage over time on a random enemy. At the start of each enemy turn, Nihilus inflicts health down on them for 2 turns. Good to get some debuffs flowing. If they have to cleanse it and you have Palpatine Zeta, things can start rocking. Good ability. He is an A character, no doubt. You need to get him. You can find him in the 9A Dark Side node. He's a tough character to farm, but he's viable at even 3 stars. Go after him. He's a good character. And maybe they'll have a pack come out soon where we can get him when the new Sith release, if you're wanting to spend a little bit of money. Next, Darth Vader. Oh, what can you say about Darth Vader? He used to be great in the game, then he was bad, and then they made him great again. With their new rework, they have Terrifying Swing. Deal physical damage to target enemy with an 80% chance to inflict ability block for 1 turn. Jedi and Rebel targets cannot evade or resist this attack. Force Crush. Deal physical damage to all enemies, inflict speed down and 3 damage over time effects for 2 turns. This attack can't be countered. Good. With the Palpatine lead, he gets this. He can use it, get all those debuffs on the characters, get his turn meter right back up again, and go right again. Then we're going to have his Culling Blade. This is an awesome ability. It can be similar to Annihilate. Deal physical damage to target enemy and dispel all debuffs on them. This attack deals 50% more damage for each effect dispelled and grants 100% turn meter on a finishing blow. This attack can't be evaded. Let's say you've used damage over time a lot, and somebody has 15 damage over time, plus a few other things stacked on them of her debuffs. You use Culling Blade, boom, he's gone. Sayonara. Great to use in the AAT raid or the Rancor raid as well, especially when you use him in his leadership ability, which states this, Inspiring Through Fear. I do not have him Zeta'd, but the Zeta ability, which is the most important to run him in the raid, states Empire and Sith allies have plus 30% offense and have a 50% chance to remove 20% turn meter when they damage an enemy. This turn meter removal can't be resisted while Darth Vader is alive. Enemies immediately regain damage over time for 2 turns whenever damage over time expires. That is the Zeta part. So when somebody cleanses, the damage over time immediately goes right back up over the cleanse for every enemy on the field if Vader is the leadership ability. It just keeps going and going and going and building and building and building. And man, it makes his Culling Blade so much more useful. But I'd only use his leadership ability Zeta in the raids right now. I would not use him in Arena. That's because Palpatine is the guy right now. Still, a good leadership ability and good early game. No Escape, also a Zeta ability and a new ability that they just added, or a unique, I should say. The non-Zeta states at the start of each encounter, Darth Vader gains 8 speed until the end of that encounter for each of the following: Empire ally, Sith ally, Jedi enemy, and Rebel enemy. So you have a Sith and an Empire ally, which is what he's going to be run in these new Arena squads soon. They're all going to be Sith or Empire allies. So he's going to gain 40 speed right there. Add that on top if they have Jedi or Rebels on the other team. You could get a compotal of 80 speed. Get him at 200 speed, which is a decent amount of mods on him with some speed mods. He gets to 280. He's faster than most R2-D2s in the squad arena. Man, this is a great ability. I'm glad they added it to him. It made him more viable in the game. He can be found in the Fleet Arena store at times and as achievements reward. So if you're just starting the game, as you accomplish things, you're going to be able to get shards for him and unlock him. Good character. I give him an A, especially because of his new rework. And his TIE Advanced Starfighter, one of the best ships in the game. Next, we go to Savage Opress. Man, I like this guy. We're going to start with Staggering Blow. He was part of the Clone Wars TV series. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Season 4, you will not be disappointed. Staggering Blow. Deal physical damage to target enemy with a 50% chance, double on a critical hit, to inflict offense down for 2 turns. Offense down, that's actually a decent debuff. It's better than defense down. Next, Overpower. Deal physical damage to target enemy and gain Critical chance up and critical damage up for 3 turns on a finishing blow. If the target has 50% health or below, this attack deals massive damage and can't be evaded. You'll go in facing an enemy that has less than 50% health. You use this, bam, he's gone. It's great in territory battles because you get somebody in one of those nodes underneath 50% health, boom, gone. Great ability, good character. Now we're going to his leadership ability. Pain is weakness. Sith allies gain 75% defense and gain 30% tenacity. Other allies gain half those amounts. Okay, 75 defense, 30% tenacity. You know, not bad. Not bad. There's much better leadership abilities. But you get him early game, and that's not bad. Then we have Brute, which is a Zeta ability. I'm going to read his Zeta because that's what makes him good. Whenever Savage takes damage, he gains offense up, defense up, and heal over time for 2 turns, and gains 30% turn meter at the end of his turns. Savage dispels all debuffs on a random other Sith ally and gains those debuffs for himself for 1 turn, and dispel all debuffs from Savage when he ever is critical hit. He isn't considered a tank, but he can sure act like one with his Zeta ability. Health up. You know, it's basically what I'd like to call a soft cleanser because he's taking debuffs from another person, putting them on himself. He's a good character. I'm going to give him a B-, only because he's not in the meta right now. But man, as an early game dark side character, if you can get him, go after him. You can find him in the Squad Arena store. I would get him early. He's a good Sith character. You know, he's good. Have fun with him. I like him. About a B-, like I said. Next, we go to Darth Maul. He was the meta for a while with his leadership ability, which I will get to. Man, I love this guy in the Star Wars universe. Not only in Episode 1, where we didn't see nearly enough of him, but later in the Clone Wars TV series and Star Wars Rebels. In the Clone Wars TV series, he was brought back to life by Mother Talzin because he is a Night Brother. Go watch the last episode of Season 3, Clone Wars. You will definitely enjoy it. So here we go. Here are his basic abilities. Deal physical damage to target enemy on a finishing blow. Gain 100% turn meter and offense up for 2 turns. This attack deals double damage to Jedi. If Jedi ever become the meta again, Maul could be viable again. Good deal. Whirling Blade. Deal physical damage to all enemies. Inflict daze for 2 turns. This attack deals double damage to Jedi. Again, double damage to Jedi. But daze is an excellent mechanic in this game. Getting the other team dazed and preventing them from doing a lot of stuff is just it's a great ability. And this can do a pretty good decent amount of damage. Next, we have his leadership ability, which I don't have Zetaed, but the Zeta is the most important, and it reads this. All Sith allies gain 20% evasion, gain 20% turn meter, and stealth for 1 turn at the start of each encounter. And whenever they evade or are critically hit, they can't be critical hit while stealth and gained advantage for 2 turns whenever stealth expires. The stealth and turn meter from this ability ignores taunting allies. You know what? When you could get that everybody under stealth, prevent them from getting critical hits, force you to potentially hit only 1 character, this was the meta for a while. It's a good leadership ability. I'd wait to Zeta it right now. I'd wait to see what these new characters get, but keep it in the back of your mind. And then we have Power of Hatred. Darth Maul gains 20% max health and gains max health equal to 10% of the damage he deals and potency equal to 0.3% of his max health. Whenever an enemy is defeated, Darth Maul gains bonuses for the rest of encounter. First enemy, he gains 25% critical chance. Second enemy, 25% evasion. Third enemy, 25% max health, recovering on hitting with an attack. He can start to regain health for himself with these attacks. He's a very, very slow character, so you have to put a lot of good speed mods on him. In the Star Wars universe, you'd think he'd be the quick, fast character. He's not in this game. He's slow. He needs to have good speed mods. He gets a B as a character right now for that reason. And his scimitar ship, pretty good ship. Next, Darth Sidious. The only time we see this Darth Sidious in form is in a Clone Wars TV series where he takes on Savage, Opress, and Maul and kicks some butt. His basic ability, Deathstroke. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict healing immunity for 3 turns with a 50% chance, doubled if the target is debuffed, to ignore defense. We have Demoralizing Blow. Deal physical damage to all enemies and inflict damage over time and expose for 2 turns. This attack inflicts 2 additional damage over time effects on a critical hit. It's decent. It's good AoE. Then we have Unlimited Power, just an Omega. All allies gain 50% critical chance and 30% critical damage. Sith allies gain 2% offense until the end of the battle when they score a critical hit. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about getting that. It's just not a very good leadership ability. They're much better in the game. Then Sadistic Glee. Darth Sidious recovers 20% of his max health and gains 50% turn meter whenever any unit is defeated. In addition, he has 35% evasion against Jedi attacks, 50% potency, and gains max health equal to his potency percentage. Yeah, and you can, oops, I'm sorry about, you can find him in the, I believe when I get back here, that it's the Squad Arena store. And you know, one day he'll maybe get a rework. Yeah, Squad Arena store. But he, you know, he's not actually one of the top Sith on the list to farm right now. And I do have to go back. I'm sorry, I forgot this. You can find Darth Maul. A lot of times he will be in the Fleet Arena store and the Guild store. So that's where you're going to be able to unlock him. I apologize for forgetting that. So we're going to go now to Sith Assassin. This character was released last time this year with Nihilus, and it's actually a pretty decent character. Exploit weakness. We have deal physical damage to target enemy, inflict evasion down for 2 turns, and gain offense up for 2 turns. If the target was already debuffed, gain stealth for 2 turns. If Sith Assassin already had stealth, ignore the target's protection. Ignoring protection, you know, do some decent damage, evasion down, offense up. If she's stealth, it's not a bad attack. Now, Dark Shroud. It dispels all debuffs from Sith Assassin and gain stealth and foresight for 2 turns. If she already had stealth, gain speed up and tenacity up for 2 turns. Sith allies gain 12% turn meter for each buff on her. You get a lot of buffs on her. You use this ability. Boom, the rest of the team almost can get 100% turn meter at a certain time. Good ability. Then Electrocute. You deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict stun for 1 turn. If Sith Assassin already had stealth, dispel all buffs from Sith Assassin. Deal 5% more damage for each effect dispelled and each living Sith ally and ignore the target's protection. So again, she has a lot of buffs on her. Use this, it can do a lot of damage and it will ignore protection. You can find her right now in shipments, daily login, and Neutral Battle 8C. She's going to be a B character. Again, I apologize. Sidious is going to be around a C character right now. Hopefully he gets better. Next, we're going to go to Sith Trooper. They are going to do a rework on him. And the rework is going to state this. Every time he goes into battle, he's going to taunt automatically. A lot like Baze and Shore Trooper. But here's the rest of his abilities right now. Disruptor Blast. Deal physical damage to target enemy with a 70% chance to inflict defense down for 3 turns. If the target was already debuffed, ignore their protection. Okay? Crimson Barrage. Deal physical damage to all enemies with a 70% chance to inflict offense down for 2 turns. Then gain protection up equal to 5% for each debuffed enemy for 2 turns. This attack ignores protection. Some more protection ignoring. Not bad. Viking's Legacy. Viking's Space Dock is actually a place in Star Wars The Old Republic online multiplayer game. You want to learn more about it? Google it. Go play it. Sith Trooper has 100% defense. Whenever a Sith ally uses a special ability or falls below 50% health, Sith Trooper gains defense up for 2 turns. If he already had defense up, he gains taunt for 2 turns. If he already had taunt, he gains retribution for 2 turns. Sith Trooper gains defense up for 2 turns at the start of each encounter. This ability is going to be changed. It's going to allow him to taunt right at the beginning of the battle, right when you get in there. And the reason why is when you pair him with Darth Sion, and you have basically those 2 tanks going on it's going to create what the Game Changers are calling a nightmare team with Palpatine, Vader, Sion, Nihilus, and Sith Trooper. Man, that will be a nightmare team to face. I would definitely get this character. You can find him in 8B Cantina battles. He is an A, especially with his rework. He's going to be a great character. If you have the ability to get him, get him. And then the character that was just added to the game recently, Sith Marauder. I could have gotten to 7 stars, but I used him a little bit, and I read about him more, and he's just not very good yet. I hope we'll find some usage for him. He looks cool. That's for sure. Strength through Passion. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict offense down for 2 turns. Victory through Power. Deal physical damage to target enemy and grant all allies potency up for 2 turns if this attack scores a critical hit. Reduce the target's max health by 15% until the end of the encounter. Raid bosses, this attack ignores armor. Now, there is going to be phase in the new Sith raid where I guess armor penetration is huge. So maybe he's going to be useful in that certain phase. We'll have to find out. We will find out more soon. Now we have the Force Shell Free Me. Sith Marauder has plus 10% defense, plus 10% health deal, plus 10% tenacity for each buff on all characters. Sith Marauder has plus 2% critical chance, plus 2% offense, and plus 2% potency for each debuff on all characters. When an enemy uses an ability outside of the turn, Sith Marauder gains 20% turn meter. This has been used in battle not only by me quite a bit, but by some of the game changers as well, and I just have not seen enough usefulness out of him. Maybe with the new releases, we'll be able to find more usefulness in him, and he can go into a certain lineup, but right now, he's only available through a marquee event, and you can have to buy him with crystals, get him to 7 stars. Not worth it yet. I will let you know if he becomes worth it one day. That is the Sith overview. I cannot wait to update this and tell you about Darth Sion, about Traya, Visas Mar. I cannot wait to tell you about all that. So, Sith are a good faction, and right now they are only going to get better. For free-to-play players, some of them are hard to get, some of them are decently easy to get. Get a lot of Sith, as many Sith as you can, because 1, the Sith are awesome in general, and 2, they're going to be powerful for a while. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry for the length, but I wanted to cover each Sith perfectly because you guys deserve to know what each one is capable of doing and if you should farm him or not. So, have a great day. Peace out.